Got my thumbs up? Am I live? Caitlin says I'm live, everybody. Welcome to Facebook Live with Rick Larsen. Really appreciate folks coming on right now. We're going to also be on at 5 o'clock, and I will tell you about that near the end here. But I wanted to do this Facebook Live event at 4:30 to talk a little bit about the United States Postal Service and voting rights. The importance of USPS is really threefold. One is for the elections, to ensure that ballots get not just sent out on time, but that people have enough time to get their ballots back, and they get delivered back, be counted on time. But having USPS is important for other reasons. 1.2 billion prescriptions were sent to the mail last year to people, including 80% of all prescriptions within the VA for veterans. I've talked to some small businesses through Facebook who said that they rely on the United States Postal Service to be kind of their logistics company. So the USPS supports small businesses as well. So yeah, it's important to focus on mail-in balloting when it comes to the United States Postal Service, but elections are every 2 years or every, in February for school elections and so on. But every day, people are using the U.S. Postal Service to get the health care that they need or to support their small businesses. So these attacks on the Postal Service are detrimental to the United States and provision of health care and small businesses. That's why earlier this week, Susan Delbene and I, Representative Delbene and I, had an event outside the post office in Everett with representatives of local postal unions to talk about the damage that's being done to the U.S. Postal Service by the current Postmaster General and by President Trump. But we are going back into session on Saturday, just in a couple days, to vote on the Delivering for America Act. This will not only require the Postmaster General to reverse the changes that he has made, but also to enhance standards for the U.S. Postal Service. So we're not just talking about him doing what he said he did, which is he's stopped removing mailboxes, he's stopped removing processing machines. That's not enough. We need to get those mailboxes back on the corners. We need to get processing machines back into the postal processing centers around the country to ensure that ballots are processed on time, to ensure that ballots are sent out on time, to ensure that necessary prescription drugs can be continue to arrive on time to veterans and seniors around the country, and to ensure that our small businesses can continue to rely on the USPS to support their operations as well. So these attacks are also an attack on 600,000 postal workers in the United States. And we need to stand behind those working men and women here in the U.S. as we also fight for the U.S. Postal Service. The motivation is clear. The President has said it. There is no conspiracy theory. Republicans lately are saying this is all just conspiracy theory. Is it a conspiracy theory or is it a fact? When the President himself said he does not want to do mail-in balloting, he does not want to fund the U.S. Postal Service because he believes that's going to help Democrats win the election. That's not a conspiracy, that's what he said. And we have to push back and fight against that. It's one thing. He has said he's backed off of that, so which Trump do you believe? Which Trump should any of us believe? I believe the Trump who spoke first. The one who said he wants to end mail-in balloting, he doesn't want it to occur because he thinks it's going to help Democrats in the election, and that's why he doesn't want to fund the Postal Service. It's not a good reason, but it's his reason, and we need to push back against that. We're doing a variety of things, like last week in a letter to the Postmaster General, I joined House Democrats in calling for a reversal of policies targeting USPS. The House passed the HEROES Act, which includes $25 billion for the U.S. Postal Service and $3.6 billion for states to help implement the elections this fall. As early as February of this year, we passed the USPS Fairness Act in the House of Representatives, sent it over to the Senate, which ends the agency's mandate to pre-fund retiree health benefits, to remove that obligation from the liabilities of the U.S. Postal Service to help get their budget back into balance. Because in part, we're talking about prescriptions, we're talking about small business, but we are in fact as well at this time of year talking about protecting the right to vote. This fall, 77% of all Americans will have the opportunity to vote by mail. Not all of them will. In Washington State, we're 100% mail-in ballot. Some states, though, are adopting mail-in balloting or additional absentee balloting, which allows people to vote by mail. And 77% of all Americans will be eligible to vote by mail this fall. And so we need a postal service that can provide the service to get those ballots out to people on time and give time for folks to vote so the ballots can come in on time. And so I want to really urge everyone to support us as we're trying to push back against this administration and their attacks on the Postal Service. Finally, I wanted to just highlight there's a watch party tonight at 5 o'clock in about 20 minutes or so. You can join me and our local Democratic candidates for a virtual pre-convention watch party to kick off the final night of the Democratic Convention. And you can visit my Facebook events page for more info, but it will start at 5 o'clock. It will go for 1 hour, and then you can go and watch the convention activities and speeches, including the acceptance speech from Vice President Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee for president. In order to tackle the challenge facing our communities, we have to elect Democrats up the ballot and down the ballot. And of course, defeat Donald Trump. The stakes are very high. We are battling for the soul of America this year. That's very clear. Our priorities will focus on working men and women, on climate, on health care, on voting rights. We need to take action, and that first set of actions has to be sure that we vote and get our friends and family to vote as well. So I hope you'll join us. I'm going to have a long list of guests tonight on the watch party, a lot of local candidates who will each give a little synopsis of what their election is like. And really, I'm going to be encouraging people to support these local candidates because we need to win up and down the ballot. And I hope you'll join me tonight as well in celebrating this historic Biden-Harris ticket. I watched the speeches last night. Senator Harris's speech was great. It was great to get to know her a little bit more, get to know her family and her family's background a little bit more, as well as how she's going to support the ticket, how she's going to take on Vice President Pence and President Trump, as well as how she and Vice President Biden are going to lead us into victory this fall, but lead the country over the next 4 years. And of course, we all miss Obama. Michelle or Barack, doesn't make a difference to me. We all miss them. And it was great to hear Michelle Obama's speech Monday night and Barack Obama's speech last night. But tonight, of course, the big speech will be from Vice President Biden, and I'm looking forward to that as well. Very excited about the fall coming up, battling for the soul of America, prioritizing the economic needs of working men and women, and fighting for voting rights and fighting to end racial injustice in this country. All very critical for the future of the United States. So hope you join me at 5 o'clock. Hope to see you then. And thanks for joining me on this Facebook Live event. Thanks a lot.